That heifer right there just don't even care.
Take yourself down.
Action.
Hey,
What do you say, folks? Hope everybody's having a fine Sunday evening. It's like several of y'all done moseyed on in here way ahead of time here a while ago. Well, don't show time, didn't I? Or don't say time. But Lee, with the Batman thing,
yeah, Batman's here, y'all.
no, I ain't gonna show it. The Lee's comment about being Batman. Then I don't know if I'm gonna be able to say it now. Bisha Basara. I probably pronounced every bit of that wrong. But apparently it was a Batman quote. And it was some kind of Mongolian language mixed with something else. And it means to rise up.
Mm-hmm.
So you got it right, Lee. That man went and Googled it. Or he already knows Batman quotes.
His brain just does that automatically. He spent so much time with technology.
Yep, bingo. Rise up there.
DC is convinced Lee is Batman.
He could be. They have him my old red telephone sitting off to the side nobody knows about.
Secret bat signal built in the wall of that new office.
We know when the back lights go flashing back there, the man got to go, y'all.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been getting pretty good laugh out of that there. I guess DC, you coming up with that? But other than that, same old right here in our little neck of the woods.
He said, I have become the boy blunder.
Everybody getting on board with it. Uh-huh. I told him Mr. Mike would be in here.
But his notification's only 2 months late.
But he got him.
Mm-hmm.
She said, you text him to make sure?
I did. I just asked him that, Mr. Mark, no joke. He said, no, I forgot. I was like, you told him you was going to start letting him know.
What's that Robin saying?
Did a double B removal this weekend. I had to assemble 40 foot of scaffolding to get to each of them. That ain't no joke.
Especially
And then you got to climb that 40 foot.
Ain't nobody hit. Was it pole or frame scaffold?
We got to take that. DC asked if anybody else hears feedback on the top.
Testing.
Yeah, let us know when they try to let him push the buttons over here.
Yeah. Maybe not. We usually leave that air on and it don't pick up. Or maybe these dogs kicking around on them collars. All right, they're getting feedback too. Let me try one of these microphone things here. Oh, yeah. Let me see. I'll tell you what. I got the big air turned on. Look, hold on.
I'm just saying.
Mm.
I don't think it's the air.
Better or worse? Or nothing?
Like DC, we don't have anything plugged into a computer. He said wiggle the cord. We don't even have a computer out
Yeah.
running. It's well, maybe it was there for some reason. Picking it up there.
Okay. All right.
We've
Well,
had it on the last 3 or 4 weeks.
hey,
I don't know.
it may be these phones carrying on. No, I don't doubt that. But other than that, let me get caught up back here on this chat just flying by this evening.
Way too fast for my brain to compute. Oh, we got the world famous Mr. Mike Berry in here.
Mr. Mike Berry back in here this evening.
Well, he said that's better, but it got better before you messed with the air.
So, was it better before the air or better after the air?
But it got better before you messed with the air.
I don't know. We'll go with it, unless it's just ain't working, period.
That's it. And it's the heat.
Yes. Oh, good grief. Yeah. We, I don't know, this week about burn us out, and we got another week in it. We was looking at the old local weather deal, and they talking about heat index 107 tomorrow, and I'm thinking, here we go. We definitely made it.
Oh, yeah, 107 tomorrow. It was only 106 today.
Yeah, we had a cool snap today.
Yeah. But we start laying down black shingles on the roof. We just finished framing them around.
Well, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how all that goes.
Tuesday.
But
One, either tomorrow or Tuesday. Either way, it's gonna be hot.
and some fans. I'm thinking about doing some redneck engineering and cutting me a block where I can mount on that roof, and I can stick me an umbrella down into a block of wood that ever so far we can move that rascal down with us. That's pretty tempting. But
Look, you just gotta do what you gotta do when it's this hot down here. And you have to work. And I never understood that, but it's like Newton's law for the South. When it turns hot, everybody's going to want the outside work done.
oh, it happened.
When it gets nasty hot.
I was looking at the weather thing today. I believe it's July the 3rd. We begin the first 20 days of dog days. Then
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of that is whenever the star gets in the sky, and that's the official middle part of the, I don't know, hangs out with the moon or sun or something. I don't know. Anyway, there's a star out there, and it tells you when it's going to be hot. Besides the sun.
I don't necessarily need a star to tell me it's hot this time.
Not the big star. I'm talking about there's another one, but it counts for dog days. So what I'm saying,
It's going to get hot.
it's fixing to be dog days.
Yeah. But it's pathetic, y'all. It was so hot. Was it Tuesday or Wednesday that I was on the roof with you for a while?
Wednesday.
Okay. That, whatever day that was. Wednesday. My toenail polish literally melted to my socks, kind of thing. Just nasty, depressing hot down here.
Mm-hmm. You right about that too, Mr. Mike Berry.
When,
When the doggone shade won't even cool y'all.
yes.
But if you want to refresh some foundation that you don't want to waste electricity on.
Oh, it won't take it long at all to melt out here this time of year.
Literally, we come home a week or so ago and it was just good hot, the heat of the day, I guess, about 3:30, 4 o'clock. We let Jasper and them down the hill down there, and I had left the frame with some foundation out, and we was gonna put it in one of them boxes, but something we had recently pretty well waxed not long ago. Well, come back and I seen that thing just glistening, shining. I was like, I know it ain't rain.
Mm-mm.
And I went over there and stuck my finger in it. When I pulled my finger up, that wax started drying on the tip of my finger real quick. And I was like, that was, I guess, the reality.
Oh,
of
good grief.
yeah. It's
Mike Tangway said we got up to 77 today in rain. I'm jealous.
shoot. No, we won't see no 70s again until early November, probably.
Yeah, at least late October. Normally it's still sweltering hot for Halloween down here.
But talking about all this hot weather, that'll be part of our, I guess, subject for this evening.
Mm-hmm.
To get different ideas. I know there's some folks that's a year or two into beekeeping and a lot of veterans out here as well, but helpful little hints for uh, for the upcoming dearth. Like for us down here in the Southland, we're knocking on its doorsteps. Many of you in the North Country, or the further north you get, I guess, y'all still have the ending portion of a flow, or many of you are just now probably just starting to get into one real good. So y'all a minute or two behind us, but uh, just ideas and little tips and tricks to help folks during this time of the year coming up. But no beekeeping here at the house again.
Mm-hmm.
Work, work, work. Then is PJ in here? He made it in here. See him?
Mm-hmm.
I do have to mention this, and it's not really the beekeeper related. That's why I was asking PJ, but the other ones that have been, let's see, following the mini bike expedition,
Mm-hmm.
which I haven't put a video out on yet, but we just talked about how I got that new little mini bike. To reassure my wife, just so happened yesterday, there was an officer of the law, and we was up at Hannah's grandma's, and we was sitting on that old timey front porch, and the city policeman was stopped right in front of her house. And I'm talking about he was tearing their tails up coming down that main street.
Okay.
Just boom. Wish they was speeding, but anyway, I flagged it butt down. And I said, I gotta ask you a question, mister. What's my limitations of what I can get away with and what I can't get away with? And he explained the law to me. But
I beg to differ.
he did
He
leave.
did, but all Tim heard was the bits and pieces that he could misconstrue into a gray area.
There
and
was-
he latched on to that.
There were several gray areas, and I may have touched on those subjects of what a man's freedoms are in this country, by God. And that's where I was trying to go with it. But anyway, had a blast. She wasn't happy about it. She's like, you don't need to be questioning about all that, and blah, blah, blah. They're going to give you a ticket. And
I was like, you think he's not going to remember you now? When somebody calls in and reports you for flying down the highway on that thing?
And the number one thing, people, and I'll get off of this, okay? Before I made mention I was going to talk to that law officer,
It's just a ticket. What?
she had set me boundaries.
Hold on. In my defense, I asked. I didn't. I didn't pull a turd move and get in his face and be like, "You're not doing this and that." I asked him to please stay where we knew he couldn't get a ticket that we don't need right now.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. I did not take off my flip flop and set boundaries.
She set me boundaries. Don't go. I can't go here. Stay off of this portion of the highway. Don't go into this ditch or across the road over there. And that's when I had to go find my gray
DC,
area.
can you believe that's what the cop told him? Well, if you're
Yeah.
going to do something stupid, do it big and go all the way. It's like, are you kidding me? You got a quota you ain't met for this month or something?
Don't give me
Trying to
permission.
encourage him to go do it? It's like, man, come on. Talk about small town USA.
Old school.
Anyway, moving on, buttons.
Oh no, it was good. I got a kick out of it. I said,
I got a headache out of it.
yeah, she wasn't very happy, but
Oh, it's not.
I had a blast, y'all. He would. Well, he would. You could tell that he could be a butthole real fast. You could tell that about the dude.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was decent to us,
Yeah, he did.
but
It wasn't that
yeah,
I'm the law and this is how it's going to be kind of thing. He,
no. But you can tell he could go there really, really quick when y'all was talking business.
so there's gray
Mr.
areas.
Dan said they need stories for the station. Uh-huh.
Well, they probably do because while we were standing there holding up traffic in the middle of the main street in the local town there,
Hey, literally, right smack dab in the middle of Main Street.
one of the state senators come passing by. And this is true. He's an Alabama state senator.
Mhm.
He come passing by and he's like, oh, there goes Senator so-and-so right there. And we're like, yeah, man, we know him too. You know, that kind of thing. And, I said, you reckon he's going to give you fits about being in the middle of the highway talking to me? He's, well, I don't know, but we'll deal with it when we get there. But that's Mayberry down here.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Uh, I thought about grounding Jasper from any TV time today.
That's my
What?
berries that I figure you put a GoPro on and fly right by and we can see it happen firsthand.
Since you mentioned that, I did make mention to her, but she said I should not ask this of the local law enforcement. But I told her, I said, look, I can get him to sit on this little side road right here. I can come up the hill, see how, well, you know what, how far we can stretch her on out down through this little straightaway here and get him to clock this joker and see what it does up and down little, we'll say alleyway because I don't want to get anybody in any trouble, but it's a
That's delusion.
paved alleyway for bigger vehicles.
No, it's not. It's not by any stretch of the imagination. You want to start doing some of your shout-outs?
Oh,
Move
yeah,
on
yeah.
from
Let
that.
me move on from my carrying on now. Yeah, we'll shout out to everybody. Who was it? Batman was in here first. Oh, Bruce Lee Wayne. Uh, what Grayson got in here second, and Mr. David Lewis. I do call a lot of folks Mr. Uh, let me get back up here.
You just don't ever type out, Mr. I guess. But
No,
he doesn't do, he leaves a lot of the typing to me because he does most of the talking, so it works that way.
I just don't type fast. About the time y'all pretty well over with a conversation. About the time I get something typed out. All right, I got off sidetracked here. Miss Deb, Ed, Keith, Spillman, DC. Oh yeah, do like the cloudy day apiaries. I think that's a little catchy there, DC. Jack,
Oh, in DC, we did not hear about the wreck. So can you specify who you wanted me to put? You just said Bob's son, but there's like 5 different Bobs around here. And I don't know which one you were talking about.
Mr. Rodney Middleton. I still feel for you having to talk with all that doggone scouting.
Yeah.
Richard, brother, good to see you. Mr. Mike Conley once again.
Sarah came in.
Miss Sarah,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Stone River. Did we say Michael Taylor?
Probably not.
Shane,
Oh, I missed
Ziggy.
Shane in the chat. I'm sorry.
Mr. Russell Coopman. Tom. Oh, Tom did good. We was coming home listening to Ed's live last night. And Tom did good there. The times Ed had to reload the computer and all that.
Better than Hannah does when Tim disappears.
Yep. Let's see. Yeah, once again, Mr. Mike Berry is in here.
Danae and Jack.
We got Mr. Dan Weaver too. Boom.
Both the Russells are in here.
Brian and Jim.
Oh, and today, Mike Tangley, didn't you say in Ed's last night? Today was y'all's anniversary? If I remember that right, then happy anniversary. I hope y'all had a good day. I think I read 51 years, if I'm not sorely mistaken.
Let's see, Mr. Catherine.
So,
You okay?
but that thought was gonna fly out the window if I didn't spit it out.
Oh, yeah. We ain't no but time now. Mr. James, no, good to see you, bro. Good to see y'all too. Carl.
Oh, Carl and Haley. I missed y'all come in too.
Redfish. Okay, well, we down at the bottom of the list now. We got it.
Oh, that's why I missed y'all. Okay, Bob Walker's son.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not delusional. Well, definitely a huge happy anniversary to y'all.
We got
I'm writing Bob's son.
okay. And I did y'all before. We've seen some of y'all comments before we come on, but we'll get into the prayer list in a second. But I did star y'all stuff, so we're gonna go back in just a second and read off. DC had mentioned Bob and who was, I think Michael Tangley, yeah, and Ed, who I got on here.
That's what I was making it look that and putting it's there.
Lisa, you'll help out on.
I was really hoping you wouldn't look over there until that one scrolled on by.
Thank you for the support. I think I could probably. There's a chance I could just talk myself out of it. I'm pretty sure.
There's so many things I would say. Bob Walker's.
All right, y'all. If there's a, we're gonna get on the prayer list. If there's anybody we need to add to, take away from, and I've got a couple of y'all. I'm fixing to read off in a second. Let us know, and we'll get it wrote down in this new book here on Bill. Go ahead.
I knew about where everybody was on the old list, but I can't just zoom straight to people on this one. Okay,
On the website.
I'm just trying to, before I started reading, make a note on mine.
I'm gonna punch it, yeah. I'm gonna go through backyards and everywhere else I can get under clotheslines, the whole everything. Gone. I'll call her later on.
Yeah,
Before I get too much trouble here. All right. Mr. Michael Tangway there. So you can take my sister-in-law Kathy off prayer list. She departed. She has departed. That's just the way I like to put it, y'all. But going to be with the Lord. Y'all keep that.
your family and friends.
Yes, yes. And I did take note of that there. Everybody that's been praying up to everything, continue keep the families in your prayer. Let's see. Ed saying his daddy was back in the hospital.
I'm putting him down.
Uh, we got here DC about Bob's board.
I put him on here.
Okay, okay. All right. You want to go through that? We'll get into. We'll talk about something, you know.
That's what I was waiting on Bob to say his name.
Okay.
Alright, we got in our new little prayer journal that Mr. Mark Miller, Ed and Miss Chris, Mr. Pat, the Dirt Rooster's dad, Miss Deb, Grammy Lisa, we got her son, 2 granddaughters, and an unspoken request. Bob Walker and his family, and then just added especially his son Jonathan. What they said he was in a car wreck. Yeah. Tom's wife and mother-in-law, Bob's friend Jason Cooper, Mr. Donnie, Mike Tangway's wife, Miss Cindy, and their whole family. Like I'm sure y'all saw in the chat where his sister-in-law passed. Well, yeah, you just put it up there. Duh. All right, Miss Carla Green, DC's parents, Emma Hoskins, baby Luca, and
Stop here just a second. Mr. Dan Weaver just put up baby Luca was released from the hospital last Friday.
oh my gosh,
And the little feller is finally home.
that is awesome. That is really, really awesome to hear. Like, that's an insane awesome.
Indeed it is, Tom. That's good news. That little fella, we pray that the Lord will bless him with a good, long life.
That's incredible. Okay. And then the family that lost their little one for his heart. Canada Brad, and then Deanna Wheeler is Philip's mentee's best friend. And her son Reed. and then Philip's mentee, Rachel Wilson, and her sister, Amanda, and her niece, Riley. And then Philip's mama and his cousin, Lorinda, and his friend, BJ, and his wife. The Jennifer Brown family. Well, and then Russell Amon, we've had Miss Brenda on here, but he just said you can take her off. She's doing great. So that was awesome to hear as well. That was the other note I was trying to make. Bodies, Bees, and his family, Minnesota Mike, his brother Dave, and his cousin Martin Moholt, Aaron Frederick, Mr. Larry and Miss Sherry Gandy, and Mr. Larry's mama, the Cheryl Faulkner family, Keith Larimore, Hillbilly Earl, Sandy at Icy Mountain Honey, the Montefano family, Unsong, who is Bruce with his bees granddaughter, Steve Amos's brother, Danae's grandmother, Spanky, the Heffley Hives, Israel and everybody affected by the war, all the tornado storm victims here recently. Jegs Farms, his wife is on here. Sean Valtursa's wife, Mr. Ron, who is Blaine's bee yard owner, PJ at Hanley's Homestead, Stafford Mike, the families of the 4 police officers killed in Charlotte, Shabu, a local teenager that PJ had added, Acorn Stash, another YouTuber we watched that his dad passed away, the Spillman family, Keith at Half Tracks, his wife's mama, they lost her not long ago, Ricky Rourke, 29 Homestead, mine and Tim's families, and Ed's dad, Mr. Mike Brown. Added him back tonight because he's back in the hospital.
Well, I was just going back and seeing where Baby Luca and Mr. Dan Weaver said he got a photo to email tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
So we're looking forward to that, Mr. Dan Weaver. Yeah.
Oh, another mic came in.
Yep, can't believe you beads there. Good to see you back. Seems like there's somebody else emoted in here by you. May not be. But out of the way, open up this chat and we just kind of go from there. You want to come in and tell us about it? And I'll yak about this dearth for a few moments. All right. It's serious. And we'll let you push the buttons.
Okay.
Copy. Okay. It just ain't quick enough to keep up with me, I guess.
Yeah. Just hold your finger down.
It didn't go. Okay.
You gotta hit paste. No, go back.
You just pushed the button.
I didn't push a button. Yeah. There. Okay.
I keep forgetting we got it. Don't. We're not on the fancy version anymore, and it don't just whenever you hit the copy button into the comment thing. It has it ready for you instead of doing the old paste.
Mhm.
But like the woman at church says, anyway,
Mhm.
on with the show.
Mr. Mike's accusing me of saying yeah with a smirk.
Um,
I didn't mean nothing by it.
yes, she did. Y'all let her. Makes sweet handy boo over here.
Yeah.
Think,
I'm too tired to be ready tonight. It ain't happening. My brain can't keep up.
uh, for the ones of you multi-year beekeepers, I know not well. Y'all pretty well know what dearth is, when to start identifying it, whether it's a summer dearth or a winter dearth. But there are a few 1 and 2 year beekeepers in here that whenever we get to these questions, if y'all don't mind putting in some of the little tips or tricks that y'all go, okay, this is what I do, this is what I need to start doing to prepare for
Hey, well, hopefully I can stay on tonight without dropping like I did last night.
you good, man? You good?
How's it going, Ann?
I'm doing pretty good. I just couldn't do the bees today. I wanted to put that bee suit on about, I guess, about 5-6 minutes. I was taking it back off. I said, nope, it was too hot.
Hey, I don't blame you. Wasn't no way in the world were you gonna catch us out in them today either. Even if we'd been on, don't get me wrong, but you're good until about 9:30 in the morning, and after that, it's just. I mean, you live down here, you know how you don't want to be out in that mess.
DC was saying something about, well, the honey should have ran pretty good. And I said, that's not the problem. I said the bees would be pretty hot. they'd be really mad at me for going in.
Well,
So
I went out last weekend because we had
Monday.
was it Monday?
Because we had to go back.
Okay, all right. So Monday of this past week, I told her, I said, look, we haven't been in the bees to check anything, but I'm at least go down there and hit them with the beetle juice. And I'm gonna tell you what, I rolled the lid back on that horizontal hive, and one of those colonies, which is just on our end kind of thing, there's a little gap between one of them boards, one of the slats. So the bees, they'll travel like up underneath the lid, if you will. But there's nowhere they can go. They just up there hanging out, cooling off, whatever they're doing. But I rolled that lid back, and I've got maybe a half of a run on my first run of Beetlejuice there. And buddy, they come out, and about 6 of them at the same time just nailed my right hand. Then there was a couple more trying to, get me in my face. But I had my jacket on with the veil and everything. But I just shut the lid. I said, y'all so doggone fussy, ain't nothing gonna get in here. So no, not today.
Sometimes I feel like I'm just tempting fate going out when they're that hot. Even with the suit, I get kind of iffy when I see that many of them trying to eat us alive.
I mean, the thing is that we shouldn't be in a dearth right now. That's what I was worried about when I was talking to you guys earlier, because of the tallow. All my tallow is seeded. Every last bush in my yard is seeded now. So
Yep.
they're not getting tallow. So they're flying out. I don't know if they're getting something, but it's not enough. I mean, they're being very protective.
I don't know if it's just we start to get these drought runs again, and on top of like you're saying, yeah, because we was looking pulling out of her grandma's driveway today, and she's got a big tallow tree right there in the middle of the yard, and it's already got the little, I guess, seed pods, flower pods. When they bloom during right about fall, they'll open up to that
Oh yeah.
white little flower. But yeah, there wasn't a tassel one left. Then, as I mentioned last week, whenever it was, about how I was thinking the privet, some of it was reblooming. Well, there's blooms, but it ain't nothing.
I think it's just too hot
Yeah.
for it to produce any nectar.
No, it just 99% of the privet bushes were fixing to berry, but there was a limb here, a limb there that had beautiful white flowers on it. Like it was fixing to do something else again, but it surely wasn't enough to. You probably wouldn't feel the bee up on what was out there.
Joe said he hadn't had any flow coming in for a couple of weeks. And my parents said they're trucking water back and forth right now.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
Lord,
They're diving in my pool pulling water.
Yeah.
So,
They're coming everywhere they can to get water.
oh yeah. Well, we gave the dogs a bath the other day, and we got like a pallet at the bottom step down there, and that's usually where we wash the dogs, and that way they ain't all in the mud, what have you. But I'm telling you, she ain't no more got Jasper up on the porch up there, started drying him off, and the bees were coming that quick, starting to pull on that water where we was washing them off. But on the other ends, we got different places we leave. The chickens have got water, the free range chickens, they got water, and we always keep them a bowl full out there. Then you got a little bit of standing here and there, but for some reason they want that dirty water to get them nutrients out of the ground, I guess.
Well, what Amy said, he thinks the son went to get a frame of bread. When I opened that cover, they lit into me like gravy on rice. Said about 15 hit both hands.
Mm-mm.
I know that hurt.
yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah.
ain't got arthritis.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-mm. Well, it's just funny how their attitude changes whenever you got that flow. I mean, everybody was just as sweet as all get out. You could go down there and do whatever, not really worry about maybe one getting a little fussy out of the group.
Mm-hmm.
But now,
They get cranky when they get hot too.
Yeah, but what I'm looking at too right now is once I get what's left of the honey off of these hives, I'm gonna start feeding them. I'm gonna have to feed them for a while. That's all there is to it to make it through.
that was going to be one of the highlights on the Dearth, but I don't want to get too far ahead yet. Just
I'm
because
jumping too far ahead. All right.
don't want to confuse anybody that's a year or two watching. And we kind of just take them step by step of what to look for. But I'm on the date ant site. I get the official date ant site. And all I've done, anybody wants to go back and read over this again, it ain't a whole bunch to it, but we know we could get more out of the people in the chat as far as, okay, I'll do this mixture and this and that, but we'll get there in a second. But the importance of recognizing and addressing summer nectar dearth for beekeepers. Honeybee colonies rely on stored nectar and pollen during periods of scarcity, known as dearth. Dearth occurs when there is a shortage of nectar-producing flowers And while the most well-known dearth happens during winter, many regions also experience a summer nectar dearth. This is a hot and dry period between flower seasons of spring and autumn. The summer nectar dearth often goes unnoticed by new beekeepers as the world appears green and flowers seem abundant. However, not all flowers produce nectar assembled by accessible to honeybees, and even among these that do, factors like low rainfall and extreme heat can reduce the nectar yield. The summer dearth can be more devastating to honeybee colonies than winter. It can lead to the destruction of a colony at a faster rate. Unlike winter, when colonies have time to prepare by increasing their food stores and reducing population, a summer dearth strikes when bee populations are at their highest. Large colonies with a significant number of, I'm just getting way ahead of myself. Significant number of active bees require a substantial amount of food. They can quickly deplete their stores, particularly if the keeper has already harvested honey. So that kind of goes, we watched just, I don't know, got about 10 minutes into Mr. Mike Berry's video a while ago because I was trying to come up with some beekeeping news, but just this week has prevented me sitting down and watching a lot of YouTube and stuff. But watching a portion of Mr. Mike Berry videos, and that's kind of where he was, I guess, getting at in the early portion of the video of, well, I've got a lot coming up in my schedule. I need to harvest, but should I take a whole bunch of these boxes off and get them all crammed together, hot, and you create more stress on the colony, or just pull a box or two and kind of let things go from there. But large colonies, they can quickly deplete their stores, particularly if the keeper has already harvested honey. In times of dearth, bees may engage in unwanted behavior due to desperation. One common problem is nectar robbing, where strong colonies attempt to steal food reserves of weaker colonies. Once robbing begins, a colony can be stripped of its food, leading to fighting, death, and even the killing of the queen. Additionally, the smell of open honey attracts predators such as yellow jackets and bald-faced hornets, which we have buku around here, which further decimate the weakened colony. Even a strong colony can be destroyed if workers from another strong colony gain entry. Multiple hives may join forces and overpower even the strongest colony, so careful observation is essential. Nectar robbing can result in transfer of aurora mites from the robbed colony to the robbing colony. Colonies previously unaffected by mite problems can suddenly become overwhelmed by mites brought back with the stolen honey. This phenomenon contributes to the rapid collapse of strong hives in late fall. The number of mites in a colony is heavily influenced by external sources, and robbing is a significant source of mites. So, what can beekeepers do to address a summer dearth? And according to Day I'll just go through this one. The first step, if I guess everybody pretty well agrees on this, the first step of addressing a summer dearth is recognizing that the summer dearth is occurring.
Brian had a really cool little tidbit on that. When the nectar flow is on, the bees spread the nectar throughout the entire frame. When the flow stops, they consolidate the nectar, leaving some cells completely empty and others capped off right. And then Darren said, up here in the north, if we see the bees on the hummingbird feeders, we know we're in a dearth.
Well, yeah, that's a good telltale sign.
Mhm.
All right.
That's like I had from one of my first, I left some stuff left over in a bucket when the wax cappings, sitting in a bucket, and the bucket was cracked. And all them bees were going into that bucket trying to get the honey that's left in that bucket. That's when I started to know, I said, well, we're going into it,
Mm-hmm.
because normally they wouldn't even bother with it.
Now, we'll usually do, like, how we'll go to start recognizing it. Yeah, one of the biggest ways is the drying up of your nectar source that we know and obviously see. Like we talk about the tallow a lot. A lot of people may have the tulip poplars, your basswood, and things like that. Once you start seeing these resources or those resources dying off on the trees, bushes, whatever you're getting it from, is one of your beginning signs of, okay, we need to start making a change pretty soon.
Mhm.
What is that change going to be? Am I just going to do my best, leave them alone, not try to disturb them, do the whole, I guess, tilt the back of the colony up, make sure I got enough weight in there, don't fool with them for a good month or two? Or, and I know many folks are going to probably just say, this is what I do, is already start beginning or get ready to begin a feeding process.
Mhm.
Then, I reckon on before we get into ratios, because what you got?
I'm
Oh,
doing what they if you learn in your region and evolving season info every year helps understand the time and the environment.
And that's what I've been talking about this whole time, is that I noticed the difference as soon as spring started. It wasn't like the last two. I said something's going to be different. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop, and here it comes.
mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not gonna kill us, I don't think. But I didn't get the honey this year that I normally I did. I've got more than I got last year. Don't get me wrong, but I have more hives producing less honey to make more honey. It sounds weird, but I was expecting a whole lot more than what we got. Because the way things were coming on, I said, well, catch it while we can get it, because I don't know what's going to happen. Because, like I said, the tallow started blooming really early. At minimum 2 weeks early, if not a little earlier. So I was like, this is strange. I've not seen it. I haven't been really looking for it till I started keeping bees. Don't get me wrong either. It's not like I watch this every year. Now I watch it because of the bees. So trying to understand the anomalies that happen in your area from season to season is not a bad idea. That's what I watch. I watch the weather. I watch what comes along. Yeah, as Mike says, there's many variables to determine feeding in a dearth. Different goals and expectations. Tallow never really came in very good here in their region too.
We didn't get it.
Mine were blooming early too, way before yours.
Yeah, you was blooming
Yeah.
at least 3 weeks ahead of us, because you was, just even regular old text messages. You was shooting us pictures way back. We're like, that's when me and you went through the conversation again, and dude, I don't get it.
Yeah.
We're right here on the coast pretty much. You're 150, 200 miles inland. I, that's what's kind of throwing me off. We would figure that, us being granted maybe a degree or two warmer during the day.
Tentatively, you and I are on the same parallel,
Mm-hmm.
pretty close. Although it's the way the Gulf goes, you're closer to the ocean.
Not the ocean is.
It's the Gulf.
Well, I said the Gulf first before I said that. All right.
We
I
had
had a feeling it was coming. But I'm saying you are closer to the water because of the way the Gulf goes. What I should have said.
Yeah.
I think we're on the 31st. I think, if I remember right, 30 or 31st. But
And that'd be about right because I think Birmingham is on the 32nd parallel.
Mm-hmm.
all right, well, here's one of these humdingers then, and this is where we've kind of learned. Okay, we're going to back up a little bit before we get into Dearth, because for 2 years we thought, man, it's going to be, especially on the privet. Last year, once again, privet come out done beautiful. You seen it everywhere. The tallow didn't do nothing, but we was like, okay, at least we're gonna get a privet run out of it. And this year, the privet done, we'll say better, and especially far as, buddy, you could smell it. Last year, we couldn't even hardly smell it in the yard. But for about 2 weeks, whenever we got home and pretty well anywhere we went around here, it was very floral, fragrant in the air. But now, here we go. They was bringing in a little bit of nectar, but it was not nowhere near what we had seen the 3 years prior. What difference did we see years 1 and 3 up to years 4 and 5? And the biggest thing that started clicking, especially the end of last year, was, we didn't see them drawing out as quick as they did in the other years past. The other year, we couldn't keep up with them. They was drawing out so fast. You couldn't hardly keep frames in there fast enough. You had burr comb and everything else everywhere. And it wasn't too far behind that. You were starting to get honeypans. So the first 2 things that we keyed on was, especially this year, was like, well, it ain't going, I don't reckon it's going to do it again this year. Because once again, we did not have that just full on surge of them drawing out comb, packing that until they couldn't get another drop in there. Then you got, like I said, burr comb, cross comb, any kind of other comb they could build in there. They was just trying to find anywhere to put stores. And once again, we really, really didn't have that. So
This is a very good question. It's not there. Do you think it could be cleared everything that's from the process?
well, I'd say there's, I guess, a chance by all means, because okay, I'll just use this as an example. Whenever we have hurricanes down here, most oftentimes, even the old timers tell us, so them pecan trees out there in that orchard, you're not going to have another good productive year for 5 years because the storm stressed that tree so much. So could you just not have that same result for as cold weather? And we typically don't have those, what we would call extreme temperatures. I know people in the north, they're like, oh, it's 15 degrees.
You said it was just passing it on the boys for whatever reason.
You know, I didn't even take that into consideration. What kind of stress was on the foliage in our environment because we didn't have that late freeze.
Mm-hmm. Or in some areas, did it not get cold enough? Because reading on the blackberries.
Yeah, well, the privet, I got more blackberry than I did privet this year.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy blackberry flavor in the honey.
But the blackberries, they need that, when they get that bloom, they need that last little, what we would call a cold snap, boom, to charge them puppies up just right. Then you'll get that big yield of, fruit, berry, whatever I'll put.
I agree with Lee. He thinks it was some of the, for all those rough storms that flew through our area, just beat the wind up, washing that out.
I don't doubt that, because we had several of them rascals too. All right, so pretty well, it's all on the weather and how we're going to have any kind of season, whether wind, rain, snow, sleet.
We don't get a lot of snow.
Yeah, well, yeah. But we do get that February cold,
Mm-hmm.
but usually that's a day or two for us, really. I mean, it'll get the front will come in, it'll freeze usually that night. Most oftentimes, either that day or the next day, it's right back up to 50s or 60s for the most part. Okay. So we got a couple signs to look at far as on the dirt, what to be looking for. And I guess one of the other stages would be obviously rotting and how to stop that.
So turn on the sprinkler and take the rain. It'll make everybody go home.
All right. Now, we had, and it didn't seem to bother the bees in the box last year, but you remember they was trying to rob out Valentine's box down there. And it was just a little bit left in the spray bottle, but it was Bob's, what's he call it? Like the honeybee gone, but his version of it, honey rustler. I shot around the outside on the box, and that wrapped that junk up. They didn't want no more part of that. And the bees on the inside really didn't seem to be bothered by it, but the little girls trying to gain access through those little open areas that they found, that ended that. Now, the great debate. Feeding. Without the ratio yet. Sugar or syrup?
That's a big debate.
Uh-huh.
I use sugar.
All right. We use sugar. See what everybody else starts chiming in there. Sugar or syrup. See what
Although sugar is almost twice the price it was last year too.
That's very true.
$1 a pound now.
Well,
it's 19 sugar.
$19 for a 25-pound bag. It's getting close to $1 a pound.
Exactly.
Sugar.
All right, answers are coming in.
Yeah. So far, I've seen a bunch of sugar.
Almost everybody.
Yeah, Mr. Dan Weaver, sugar. Grammy says sugar syrup in the dirt. Redfish sugar. Russell Amon, sugar. Richard says he feeds his honey. Oh, my bees eating honey. I'm sorry. Can't believe you bees, sugar. Grammy said, I guess the syrup is still cheaper. Well, yeah, everything's cheaper than home.
I'll just sit back and watch this scroll by.
Mike staying out of it.
Let's see. Most everybody's saying sugar. I think
And I think
90%
that's more of a,
saying
that
sugar.
might be more of a pocket thing than anything else, you know, a little cheaper than feeding any supplemented syrups
Mhm.
is what I would say, because that's where I'm at. I do it because I'm a skin flint.
All right. Looks like sugar has won on in this chat anyway.
Mhm.
Like Brian C says, don't feed them unless I'm wanting them to draw on in new nukes. All right, Mr. Steve Amos. All right. Brian Flowers to order 25-pound bags of syrup from our grocery store and have them deliver them right away to the house.
Excuse me for a second. I'll be right back. I'll be listening.
Okay. Let's see, Mike Squarebees. I use sugar, but we rarely have to feed until late fall. All right. Uh-oh. Oh, but
Wrong button.
like Mr. Steve Amos saying sucrose is only $2 a gallon there. Now on the summer dirt, then what would you recommend? Because all right, especially the say the southern folks can help with the southern folks and northern folks help up there, because I don't know if really so much like who was saying they only have to feed late fall.
Trying to see it.
Or was it
No.
square bees? Yeah,
Square
Mike square bees. Okay, because granted, yes, y'all have that shorter season, and winter is on top of y'all way quicker before it ever gets down here to us, kind of thing. Because really, we can. There's a lot of times, and most everybody down here can verify that a lot of Christmases you'll be in shorts down here. But as far as a ratio, then for just a summer dirt, not so much. You're just feeding. You're not wanting them to take and draw out unless you've got a new late nuke or something like that coming in. Help them get that extra little push going into winter. But a ratio, say, is it more of a 1-to-1, or would you be more prone to do a 2-to-1 in the summertime months?
Mr. Dan says less than one.
Okay, so that's about where we would go, is a 1-to-1. Because I'm just thinking like heat. Give them a little bit of that extra water to help cool down inside that colony, instead of having that thick stuff they're trying to take and
Lisa said 1-to-1 or a little lighter. And Steve Amos said the same thing. And Tom, 1-to-1 or lighter until September.
okay, so well, that's pretty much most everybody in the north end, south end there.
Russell Pittman, less than 1-to-1 till fall. And I can't believe you like the same thing.
Yeah, I think it's Bob Benny has said something about he uses something less than 1-to-1. A quarter to one, 3/4 to 1. So I can remember the exact mixture, but I'm gonna say it's less than 1-to-1. What he was saying. that he'd use unless he's trying to get them to build up for winter.
All right. And not at all, I guess, should there be any conflict on this. And I'm not, it's not the problem, but I know a lot of people have their own preferences on what they use for as an additive. Do y'all put something in your 1-to-1? And I'll start with us using, for example, originally we was just doing a 1-to-1 sugar feed, open feeding, and we'll get to that one in a second. But we open feed in a 5-gallon bucket. Okay. But since the Apis Biologic come out, we add that to our 1-to-1 sugar during dearth, and we feed away from the colonies because just in our minds, what we're trying to do is to draw the bees away from anything down around the yard. So it don't matter if we have to fill the bucket twice a day or just once a day. We keep that sugar water out there to prevent any robin. That's what has helped us a great deal on not worrying about robin down there in the boxes. But what are some additives that folks know that work, like the Apis Biologics? And I know there's what I have to tell it because we haven't bought into many of the products.
You
But
got other ones like Hive Alive and other stuff like that too. They mix
okay,
in the.
Okay, mine
I
said
use
I'm trying to be healthy. And Deb saying it's Apis Biologic.
they were talking about fermentation a minute ago. When I try to keep from fermenting, I'll use the apple cider vinegar with mother in it.
mhm,
Mix a little bit of that into it as well as the Apis. You
okay,
know, and I don't use Apis all the time. I just do it once in a while.
mhm.
Okay, Mike said peppermint and tea tree oils. And Lisa said she used a essential oil blend. Steve Amos said Hive Alive.
Tom talks about Pro Sweet too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we got Apis Biologics in here, Pro Sweet, Hive Alive, some essential oils, and well, he's just saying preventing the fermenting and the
They're
liquid.
thinking about using all that stuff for it.
Mm-hmm. Honey, be healthy.
And Lisa was talking about a mixture of tea tree oil, wintergreen oil, and there's another one she can't remember.
That'd be a good video to do there, Grammy, for people that like to use them essential oils.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think Dan from Barnyard Bees has one where he makes an emulsion that he mixes into his sugar water. I saw it real early on when I started beekeeping.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he'll blend it up, make an emulsion, and then mixes that off in the sugar water.
That wintergreen, I bet that smells good. I don't know what that tea tree oil smells like.
Tea tree oil sort of got a woodsy smell to it.
Let's see here. Mr. Mark Miller, Complete by Peerco.
I never heard of Complete, but that's something to look into.
Mr. Russell Amon said he has a little bit of peppermint oil there.
But if you're a real dearth, I mean, I could take 5 gallons out there. Back when I started, I had only 2 hives. I take 5 gallons out there, 2 hours, it was gone. You know, that's when it was real heavy dearth.
Oh, I believe that too. Yes, sir.
I mean, then just throw some pine straw on it, on top of it, and let them go to town. And about 2 hours later, with nothing in there.
Well, we tried doing that, like with the throwing some pine straw in a tote and filling it up and all that, but we was kind of finding out we was losing a bunch of bees, and I don't know if they just was getting down there and their little old wings was getting sticky and they couldn't get out, and they just ended up dying or whatever. But now I'd made one of those. I know most everybody's seen them, how everybody does the 5-gallon bucket upside down and lets them, feed off the edge, that rim on that 5-gallon bucket. But we was watching them, and it was during a bad dearth, and they just couldn't. There were so many bees that they couldn't stay on the side of it. It's pretty much what was happening. They was, crawling all over each other, falling off, and I got thinking, how can I just maybe build a table of some sorts so they can just land, walk up there. Then when the other one leaves, it's kind of makes things a little bit easier instead of a whole bunch of flying around in the air and then wasting energy trying to find somewhere to land. But I'd taken a lid to one of those totes and cut it out just a little bit smaller than what that rim was on that 5-gallon bucket, and got it to where I could put it in a bind. And we kept that thing back. Well, up to last year, it finally sun rotted and busted into pieces on me. But the little landing pad we made for the open feeder. Okay. All right. Let me get back here. Let's see.
I've even tried wood slats, man, in it too. So it floats on the top. But I end up feeding everything, hummingbird moths, butterflies, bumblebees, carpenter bees. I mean, you name it. They're sweat bees. They all come to my yard when I go do that, feed them.
Now I did get out there and tinker around, but this would work. It would have worked good if I had a completely square bucket or round bucket. And whenever we was putting the pine straw in the tote, the totes, they kind of taper a little bit as they go down. Well, I had a whole bunch of pieces of styrofoam left over, and a queen excluder, one of those plastic queen excluders, worked perfect inside of a good sized tote. But where I ran into a snag was as the water level went down, that tote tapered. So I ended up having to cut my queen excluder a little bit too small, really. But about the time, basically, it would float at the top. Then when it got to the bottom, just about almost to the bottom, it would get hung up because of that taper. But I was telling Hannah, I said, now if we could find a perfectly square and it didn't come down to a taper anywhere in that box or plastic tote, I said that styrofoam worked perfect with that queen excluder that tied to it because it just floated right there barely. It wouldn't even hardly break surface tension on that water, but the bees could land on there, take off, come on back, no problem, no issue. And if they did have to get somewhere to rest, they would just climb on top of that styrofoam And most oftentimes clean their little legs up there and then head on out. But I think we just probably gonna get us another 5-gallon bucket and go that route again this year.
Yeah, that's nice to know that. I have a feeling this year. See, I went all last year without even feeding them once. I tried one time. It looked like it was a little bit dry, so I stuck it out there. It sat there for 2 weeks, and maybe a bee here and a bee there would go into it, but then maybe they wouldn't even touch it last year. And now it's looking like I'm gonna have to feed them again this year.
Mm.
Mike Berry says he gets what after he goes and cleans. They let him clean the frames and stuff. He doesn't feed them till goldenrod. They don't get anything. They fend for themselves to goldenrod.
Okay. Which the man's leaving enough in there for them to pull on to as well. So I guess a first and second year beekeeper, you don't want to go in there and take every bit of your honey resources thinking that's a good thing. Take you so much, but be sure to leave plenty enough in that colony for those bees to feed on. So
I've never stripped them completely ever. I always leave. I at least leave. If I got 2 deeps, I leave at least minimum whatever's in the brood box, and then maybe 2 to 3 frames with honey on it up top. I never really strip them completely.
we're just yakking about it, not pulling too much off of them during your harvest. But some people I know wouldn't know, but then are genuinely wouldn't know anything like that. Then there's some that you think it's kind of like one of those incidents we all watched. The video where the dude just took the nukes and literally just dumped them over frames and beams, and one of those kind of situations. Don't starve your bees is what we're trying to say.
If you will shut the queen down after pouring all the honey, then the bees won't consume them.
Make her start drawing back too.
Were they talking about putting her like into a push-in cage for a while?
Yeah, I reckon so.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like if you shut her down, she's only going to be able to in a 4x4 box pushed into the frame is the only place she's going to be able to lay. So there's not really going to be much brood to contend with for a little while, for at least 3 weeks after you let her back out. I don't know if that's what he's talking about or not, but that's what it sounds like.
Well, that'll be pretty close to getting you ready to, I guess, try to bulk back up for winter. 3 weeks. All right.
Like Ben said, no, he kept down on her own in a day with like Mark Miller said he used the paper on it.
Okay.
He's saying no, she shuts down on her own during a dearth. And I have had one do that the first season. That's what scared me. I thought I lost the queen because I had no new eggs. All the brood was just about hatched. She literally shut herself down.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that happen one time. And I was told, leave them alone, let them go for a bit, put some feed out, see what happens. And after I put the feed out, within a week, I started seeing eggs in the hive. So she just shut herself off. Yeah, it's the middle of summer too. So this time, it was this time the first year I started dealing with bees. I had actually forgotten about that. He said that she shuts herself down.
Well,
Well, that wasn't me. That was Mr. Mark and Mike there. People much smarter than me.
Yeah.
but into, I mean, nature knows what they need to be doing on their end as well during these times. I mean, when it's getting coming. Let me look back on here and sit through what got on that. So recognizing what your preference in feeding is, whether it's sugar or syrup, having additives for those next year. I know I'm gonna leave one out. What was it? I've allowed essential. Then this last portion. Watching her sit down or wait for her to sit down. I guess. That'll be a telltale sign. Well, I did not read into this, but I'll read what D-Dan has got for their top 5. Because once a dearth is recognized, I've glanced. I can't.
Lisa said only in very small doses, all capital letters.
Lisa has done a very fine job answering it for me.
I'm gonna have to go check this out, Lisa. I have not seen this channel.
He just got a bad attitude, and I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, just like
Peaceful mind.
he's not very peaceful in his mind.
That's what Nate just said. Nothing peaceful about that guy. What?
No, that just may be his style. I'm not knocking the guy, but they're like, hey, just take a breath, Bubba. You know what I'm saying? Just take a breath, calm down. We can work through this. But it's emotional damage. It may not be very happy with it. There'll be some emotions. I don't know if any of y'all seen that one, but we'll start. We'll derail the train in a few minutes. Let me finish this.
Okay.
All right. Once a dearth is recognized, several actions can minimize the damage it causes. Number 1, feeding syrup during a dearth is a double-edged sword. While it can prevent starvation, if the colony is low on stores, it can also attract robbers. If feeding is necessary, avoid using entrance feeders that signal easy access for robbers. Instead, opt for internal or enclosed top hive feeders that minimize spills and drips. Number 2, if there is a strong nectar flow in autumn, feeding bees during the summer dearth can have advantages. It helps maintain higher colony populations as the queen restricts egg laying when nectar stops coming in. A larger colony entering autumn will be better equipped to capitalize on the late nectar flow. Did you fix to tell me something? I seen the queen go up. Oh.
Grammy's trying to push Mike Berry and then come on.
Hey, I agree.
Yeah, well, I enjoy it.
Mike Berry's the key word if feeding is necessary.
Well, I'll tell y'all what. We'll reach out to Mr. Mike Berry, and whenever he gets him a free day and he's up for it, we'll see if he'll come on and tell us how he does things,
Educate us.
on how he does things.
Yep,
On
that's how he does it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't do how to do
Nope. But maybe one day,
You look-
like I said,
Look at my videos, you see how to screw up.
well, we'll be good examples of look,
Oh.
y'all don't do that.
gosh, Mr. Davis. One day it said the non-peaceful guy, all his bees died, and that's the last I heard. And Mr. Dan said, sad as that is, at least his bees are at peace. Back to the topic.
All right.
Mm-mm.
Number 3. That's pretty good. Number 3. Essential oils and additives like honeybee healthy should be avoided during the dearth as they can attract bees from far away. Bees should have no trouble finding syrup within their hive. Now, I guess that could be up for debate there. Because if you got the smell of sugar water in there and all that, just imagine you sitting down and drinking a Coca-Cola, or they're finding the hummingbird feeders and things like that. I guess I'll just kind of leave that one. Use at your own discretion, I reckon. But they gonna smell it to me.
That's why you don't feed right on top of your hives.
Yeah. Well, that's why. Well, yeah, that's one reason we make sure. Yeah, because the bees are over here, and the feeding is way over on the other side of the yard up here. Number 4, reduce entrances to the hive to minimize the risk of robbing. Consider using robber screens for small or weak colonies. Never used a robber screen. I'm be honest, we don't close ours completely off. I'm not gonna say completely off, but to the smallest little, 1 inch by 3/8 opening until we see on the weather, okay, it's gonna get freezing. Once again, that's about January. Number 5, close upper entrances during the dearth to make it easier for bees to defend their hive. Use screen, inner covers, or an eek with screen ventilation ports if upper ventilation is necessary. The eek is a new one for me, and I'm probably saying it wrong, but EKE. Beekeeping. Bingo. That's that.
He said I like
Upper vent. That's why his boxes look happy. Like, yeah, they're happy all the time. But what was that we were gonna derail on the beekeeping?
The non-peaceful guy.
Oh, that word is.
Emotional business.
Oh, the emotional damage. Yeah, there's one for y'all to Google. So we go. Yeah, we got 20 minutes. We'll go ahead and derail.
Wait, now who's the big killer guy? Philip said, y'all let me know if Peaceful Mind changes his attitude and I'll start watching. But now I avoid his videos along with the big killer guy.
If that's the dude out there in the desert, then he's got his language is not for kids, as YouTube ask you to say. It's just his language is what it is.
What he makes of my bees always purplize the upper bee. Or purplize everything,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no matter what.
we try to help him. But once again, I can bet we did that video about a week and a half ago on them purpleizing where we was trying to give them ventilation. I just about bet you that whole thing is probably purpleized shut by now.
Oh, wow. The Peaceful Mind guy is the only person Mike Berry ever blocked on his channel after his terrible attitude.
I can.
It's gotta be bad.
It just a poor attitude. I ain't gonna talk about the man, but yeah, if you watch him, then you know. This is, you know, you gotta have there's happiness somewhere in your life. Find it. Lie to me about being happy at least.
The bees should be
That's what
giving
I
you
was
the happiness.
thinking.
Yeah,
Philip said he goes by Killer Bee Guy, but he just kills all honeybees and justifies it by saying honeybees are invasive.
that's the deal. Because a lot of the colonies he deals with is the Africanized bees out there, he says, and
Now that you bring the Africanized honey bee thing up, I
uh-oh.
heard a news article I think it's northwest Alabama. They started finding Africanized honeybees.
There's some in the north end of the state.
Yeah, that's what I saw in a news report.
Okay.
They don't think it's too big a deal right at the moment, so hopefully they don't get down this far.
I think that's
They
true.
got, Bruce's bees would be sweethearts compared to them.
Yeah, hopefully we ain't got to contend with none of that mess.
Oh, it should be northeast Alabama. I'm sorry.
Nobody really. I mean, you watch some of them videos on them things, and they like there was. We was watching one of them first responder shows or something, and I forget where it was, but out there in California, was it California or it may have been Colorado? Anyway, out in the West Country, out there, I just had that Marty Robbins song come in my head. Out in the West Coast. All right.
The West Texas town about that.
Yeah, the West Texas town El Paso. Anyway, but there was a swarm or something of them killer bees in a city, and it was like a smaller town, city, whatever you want to call it. But I'm gonna tell you what, when them things got fired up, it put the police department under pressure, it put the fire department under pressure. Bees stinging all kind of people all up and down the streets. I mean, it was like a bad scene for real. How out of control and how quick it got out of control with the killer bees. So, yeah, I'm hoping that I don't wish it on anybody by any means, but just keep it out there the best we can. Because you know you ain't ever going to get rid of them now, but there's so many populations of it. But ours are acting like they have them tendencies during this dirt coming up, but we know
They got a bad attitude.
the other little fussy.
Oh, they're just being defensive of ours right now.
Mm-hmm. They're protecting their property.
All right.
Same way you get your feathers ruffled when somebody pulls up in our yard, get on them.
Well, I mean, you're right. I do grab my lead dispenser when I don't see somebody recognize. So I'm liable to sting you too. But all right, since we kind of winded down on this, is there a particular genetic that you see a less defensive portion out of? Are the Italians more defensive than or over Carniolan, or Carniolan over whoever else is in the group, Russians, anything like that? Is there? I know ain't nobody gonna be completely just sweethearts all year long, but anybody
Well,
that's definitely
I think I remember hearing somebody say one time, like, if I have a nuke, I'm going to a nuke just like I am right now, without anything on, looking at the nuke, and rarely get stung because there's not that much for them to protect, and not that many bees. So there's not that many guard bees. But as you go up to a deep or a double deep, that number exponentially grows. So there's more guard bees and more of them on defensive than normal. So I mean, I could say any of the breeds would are going to get defensive or can get defensive pretty quick because there's more guard bees that are available in a bigger hive.
you just look at it as more of a numbers thing versus a genetic thing.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, there probably are some genetics that are more aggressive. I wouldn't say, I don't know. But what I've seen is that if I look into a nuke, there's not much to worry about. I might get popped, and I might not. And then if we go into a deep hive, and when they build out a full deep hive, stand more of a chance of getting it because there's more guards on duty. That could take off and say, okay, I don't like you, and get you. And then you go a little more, get more numbers. The more you're going to have the ability for them to take offensive, or be defensive towards you and not to hurt their numbers.
Okay, makes good sense. What you got in the comments there?
Well, Matt was saying he has carnies and Italians, and it just depends on the day which one's more gentle. Lisa says her little Appalachian mutts from Greg Burns are pretty docile. He said he hears the Caucasians are real nice, but he hadn't had his long enough to know. Lemonade says his Italians seem calm so far in any weather this year. The carnies are hot on a cloudy day. Has to be just perfect sunny day for them. DC said he'll have an opinion about the Caucasians and souls compared to the carnies when they hit their hair later this summer. He'll get back to us. He said when I had Italians, they were puppies until the dearth, then they became wolves. But they were also the largest. Danae said their Rocky Mountain mutts are way gentle. I guess the ones they got from Brian and Jen.
Okay.
Yeah, and I do have to say sometimes, like you have that little barometric pressure thing you guys made out of the bottle and the mason jar. Now, and that barometric pressure and potential for rain does affect how they guard, I think, too. I know I was in one time and it started to rain out of nowhere. It started to rain and they come right at me. I'm throwing the lid back on, getting out of there.
Well, I mean, we do rely on that little homemade fishing barometer is all it is. Anybody wants to make one, just Google homemade fishing barometer and you can make it one. But now, with that being said, for what it says for fishing, let me put it to you like this, gentlemen. If you can't get into bees, go fishing. If you can't go fishing, get in your bees. Because it's the opposite with your fishing and your bees. But So it's a win-win either way. You can get your beaver to go fishing. But we do rely on that. I'm gonna say, well, now pretty well 100% of the time that's going to answer for us. Are we going to get out there, or is it something that can wait, or do we really need to get out there because of critters or whatever the case may be? But we do look at that little barometer and go, okay, we figured out when the water level is right, and we know if it's at this level, then we're pretty well not going to have any problems out of the bees. And there have been times to where it wasn't like a completely overcast day, but it was pretty cloudy, and one would just think, well, I don't know if I should be out here fooling with them. And we look at that barometer and see that the water level was high, and go out there and not have a problem or issue out of them. But there'd be some days to where a front was coming in, and it would be just almost bluebird skies until that front got here. But look at that barometer and see that water level about halfway, or pretty well low as we call it. That no, we don't need to go out there and take the chance of her getting stung, anything like that. Now I'll go out there and tinker with them, but the both of us, we definitely read off of that.
Mm-hmm. Mike Brady said one day I want to have some commonality in my I know everybody's kind of mixed opinion though. Illuminate said he had some VSH Italians and you couldn't even get near the hives in late summer. James Knowles for his Italians in Michigan work. Mr. Dan Weaver said Dearth makes them all pesky. And who was it? Philip said don't mess with the Italians during their midday nap.
Was it Pastor Larry then something?
Yeah, they just came in.
Hope y'all's camp went good. Pastor Larry?
We're praying they had a good service.
Yeah, okay. Seems like we've had a pretty good discussion this evening, at least. Even though some.
Want to get right on for a few minutes. You can.
Well, some people may say, all right, we're talking about the basics and dirt, stuff.
I learned some new stuff tonight.
Yeah.
Like Brian's little bit on like recognizing the dirt. Mike said I have honeybees. I don't know what brand they are.
The biggest thing I think you take away, some people would take away from this tonight would probably be, pay attention to the cycles, how things have been going. Keep notes on one season to the next. Because if you run into something, you start having problems, and you look back through them notes and you realize, this happened 3 years ago. Let's see what we did, or how we fared during that. And just taking those notes, those mental notes on that would help out a lot for well, I take mental notes, or videos or whatever you want to do. But paying attention to the site, the cycle of spring. That's going to tell you what's going to happen right off the start. Like this year, I started splitting in January because I started seeing drones. So I made a couple splits on a couple of hives that were really overcrowded, and it worked fine. People were saying, "Oh man, you're crazy for doing." No, it worked fine. There were drones out there. Little things like that.
Carl said Anything with an abbreviated name is usually
Let's see, what are we talking?
And there's somebody mentioned here. I'll try to get back up to it for a minute. I won't go up there, dang it. About taking advantage of well, doing the OAV treatment during when the brews decreased during a dearth. I mean, you can take advantage of that. I think Bruce does that here. After he pulls off the supers, he goes and treats with OAV. You know, there's a lot of things we got to look at and evaluate. I'm questioning a lot of things that I've heard from people say, and then not that they're wrong. It's just that are they on the right path? So I started researching it and looking at it, trying it, and that's just citizen experimentation. I haven't lost any to mishandling. Now I've lost swarms. Don't get me wrong. I've lost swarms. I've not lost any, killed any, in 3 years, and I've not lost any through the winter so far. I say so far. I'm up to 18 right now, so there's that chance I may not be able to handle 18 through a winter. I'm not trying to get above what I think I can handle or keep track of. Or I haven't reached that number yet. People say what you can take through the winter is usually what you can handle. So, and then I don't know if that's true or not, but so far I've made it through with everything. So
That was a dilemma a fella was having. We went over to the Asian man down there in Moss Point and was looking at some boxes and lids down there a month or so ago back, and there was another fella there, and he had his pickup truck and trailer, and he was loading up with boxes, brains, lids, bottoms, the whole kit and caboodle. But he said it was his second year, and he said, "Man, I went from like 2 colonies, I'm up to 16 or 18." Then he was fixing to expand beyond that. But he was saying his biggest fear now was, am I getting too many that I can't keep up with things? And how should I kind of handle or remedy when there's a stopping point of me doing it by myself versus, it's great if you got some extra cash to kind of foot the bill to hire somebody until the honey money starts paying for itself. But what is your number? I know it's going to depend on the individual, but I guess you got to figure for yourself what is going to be a number for me that I can get out there and take care of these colonies. And
yeah, I think my biggest I think my biggest problem with tending to the bees is equipment. Having the equipment available, or having to build equipment in the last second, or sometimes financially being able to afford the equipment. So the thing is that I think that's my biggest issue with bees at the moment is having the equipment ready and available to go when I need it. That's why I end up losing the swarms. I tried catching them. Some of them didn't stay, but was it they didn't like the equipment I was using? Or what the deal was? I don't know. They just didn't like it. They said, "I'll see you later," and they're gone. So And I think that's the biggest problem I've had is scrambling with equipment and keeping up with them that way at the moment. So uh, keeping them alive hasn't been an issue. It's keeping them in the box, the full colony in the box, or catching them before they're getting ready to swarm.
Yeah, be able to get their butts split so you don't end up losing that swarm.
Mhm.
Yeah, keeping on top of them correctly. I think that's the biggest issue.
Mm.
Like I said, it's my third year too, so I've learned a few things this year. Can't always keep a swarm from your yard leaving, especially when they're 60 foot in a tree and you're waving bye. See y'all later. Yeah.
Mhm. Even though it sucks, I ain't coming after you.
That's what it's supposed to be, I reckon. Oh, before we go, how much time we got? 4 minutes. I wish we'd have done this early on, but everybody that's stayed in too. Miss Hanniboo has finally got the honeybee quilt done.
Oh,
And I told her today, I said, I want to show the people what you've done with that thing.
that's good.
Me too, until just looking over here at it. But, oh, let me see. I think it's thick, but I can do this without unraveling all of it. But
that's a weighted blanket, man.
Oh, it's pretty heavy.
oh, it's probably 6'4" and probably 3.5 foot wide, roughly. I mean, she put some time, and I know a lot of effort into doing that thing. But I took some pictures of it whenever she did the last stitching on it earlier today. And got a little old video. But I'll try to post it on that community page to show y'all. It looks good. We went with colors of just more or less trying to represent Christ in different ways. We got the red in there for the blood, the white for the purity, the gold for the purity, the white for the sinless, purple for royalty, and what else? There's 2 or 3 other different colors in there we got. But
The rest is called it's the green or something. The olive.
I think we did the green and olive for like the earth, life in the earth, something along those lines. But I'm proud of her. She put a lot of time and, like I say, effort into crocheting that thing. And I don't know how many hours it took you to do that, Rachel, but about a month, I guess. Indeed, she is, Philip.
Mhm.
The Hanniboo is a keeper. Yep.
Especially if she makes cornbread and good beans and hoe
Homemade
cakes and all that
cornbread.
stuff, man.
Mhm.
Not out of the
Homemade, yeah.
box. Yep.
No, she uses that Jiffy stuff. Come on now.
I was just thinking, I don't think I've ever served him Jiffy cornbread.
I'd say that just because you said something before in another video about Jiffy cornbread. That's why I said that. Picking at you.
I don't think I have ever made Jiffy though. I can't remember making it.
It wasn't long after we got together, married, went and met an old family friend, and his wife was a jewel of a woman. And, and when that woman told her how to make her cornbread, I thought to myself, cha-ching, because I know Miss Martha can cook. God love her, she's going to be with the Lord now. But I'm glad she got some of her cooking recipes from, especially fried squash, fried green tomatoes,
Look, you make
cornbread.
me mad. He said, "There's nothing wrong with Jiffy. I had it tonight with my Navy baby."
It's good in a pinch, especially if you like your sweet cornbread.
Yeah,
ain't
we
nothing, ain't nothing.
do the
It still,
sweet. Uh-huh.
it still ain't nothing like cornbread out of a cast iron skillet.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Hey, because when she pours that batter in there and it hits that cast iron skillet before it even goes in the oven, that cornbread is sizzling, working its way down in that skillet. Then she throws that rascal in there and lets it do its thing.
Yeah, that's the difference, Stacey. We just don't really do the sweet cornbread that much.
I like mixing honey into it when I make it. And it isn't, I don't stir it up into it. What I do is I'll make the cornbread and I'll pour the honey over the top, drizzle it over the top, and let it just drop down through it and cook.
Yeah.
You've done that a couple times, pulling it out of the oven.
I
Put
have
some
put,
honey
not
on top
before I
of it.
put it in, but I have done it, pulling it out. Rita said, "Y'all making me hungry."
Hey, it's good you get your belly full on whatever she done cook with your cornbread. And some of y'all may go, hey, I don't know about this. But if, big word if, there's some cornbread left over, that's when you get you a big glass of whole milk and you break that cornbread up in that cold, cold milk and get you a spoon. Do that right before you go to bed. You'll sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
I like to take a big old chunk of that, put it in the bottom of a bowl, and put some fresh hot chili on top of it,
Mm-hmm.
and eat it together like that.
Mm-hmm.
My wife said, I can't do that. I said, she knows you're missing.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll do it on chili. Our camp bean recipe that we got out there for everybody. And one of my other favorites was some cornbread and some good old pot liquor. It don't matter if it's turnip greens, collards, whatever. Eat you a good messy greens and come back an hour or two later whenever you kind of get that little snack. And just get you nothing but a bowl of pot liquor and break that cornbread up in it. That's another way to go to town.
I lived on that for a little while when I first started eating again after this hernia. Remember, because Miss Vera kept making me pots of greens and bringing them over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I spent my early teens for lunch every weekend. Every weekend was purple whole peas and hoe cakes.
Pot liquor. Thank you, Lise. Save me from typing that.
Yes, there we go. Yes, ma'am.
Like said, I'm gonna have a snack and fish. Yeah, it's just the turnip green juice, DC.
Or collard.
Yeah, I mean any kind of greens you could.
Mustard.
Mm-hmm. I don't like mustards near as much as I like turnip stuff.
I like turnip and collards. Collards are sweet, and the turnips have a little bit of a tart taste.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
the
I
collards,
like.
but
I ain't had cooking like that in a long time though. I need to start breaking the pot out, seal some collard greens, and make me a good pot of collard greens.
I make stuff like that all the time through the summer because one, it's really, really hydrating. Like we can recover from the heat better, and two, I don't have to fire up that oven and heat the house up. I can just cook something on the stovetop.
Well, I use my gas grill outside for some things, and then I got a cast iron griddle, and then I got my charcoal grill. So I usually do a lot of that during the summer to keep the house cool, save on electricity.
Yes, sir. Especially with AC running 23 hours a day.
Yeah, really.
What was Grace and Nellie calling the cat food place? The skillet burger.
Skillet burger.
That's what it
Yeah.
was. Lisa said what I call honey butter and biscuits is what she grew up knowing as syrup and salty. That made me think of the skillet burger. What is the different things we call the same dish?
Well, you gotta have, all right, most of the time, and these southern women that cook, all right, you're gonna have a rolled biscuit or cornbread, especially if they do a big fine meal. All right, that's gonna be your bread. But most oftentimes there's gonna be a gravy of some sort, or a pot liquor, or both. So you need something to sop it up with.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you sop it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But hearing that kind of funny term made me. It just I can hear Miss Candy joking about it, but I couldn't remember what they called them.
Yeah. I was calling, well, I mean, a lot of people called it little little channel cat like a pollywog,
Mm-hmm.
but they just right for a skillet coming out them rivers.
Yeah. Now everybody's gonna go raid the refrigerator on their way to bed at night.
You're welcome, Casey. You are welcome.
Well, guys, I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it a night myself. I gotta get ready to go to work tomorrow.
It's gonna be a long day tomorrow.
Yes, we've been doing the same.
You know, I'm dreading actually have to work in the heat because I have a feeling I might end up in the attic.
Oh,
Ooh, take a fan with you, at least move the air.
yeah.
Nothing like leaning out the attic hole and you're raining sweat.
Yes.
In the outside
Well,
air. All right, bud, take care, man.
and the outside air is a lot cooler. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well,
Good
be
night,
safe
guys.
there. Good night.
All right, then. We done with biscuits and gravy and hot liquor and
I don't think so.
got our fill.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no telling how many them men gonna say, hey, mind throwing a pan of cornbread together tonight?
Yeah. 9 o'clock at night.
Well, it's 7 o'clock over here. Or is it 6 o'clock? 6 or 7 o'clock DC's time.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I can't compute temperature differences though. I'm way too tired.
Yeah. But thank y'all for watching. Thank you, everybody, members, everybody hanging out and chatting with us and put input in. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go over there and get my chocolate milk.
Yeah, we had some good fellowship tonight.
Yes.
Definitely learned a few things.
Well, like I said, appreciate everybody's input because it gives a little bit folks to choose from and kind of you can build your own style on however you want to do your beekeeping, but in a good, manageable way. But until then, God bless you, Lord willing, we'll see y'all on the next one.
Y'all have a good week.
Y'all take care.